Hey everyone, it's Gamefruitpulp and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be returning to Games Video Game Review. We're going to be reviewing another video game today. This time I was not reached out to by the developer of the game. I just wanted to mention that beforehand. We're reviewing a much larger game than Orbox C. If you missed the last video game review I did, it was Orbox C. Link to that will be in the description. But today we're reviewing a more mainstream game. A game that I was anticipating for quite a while, and so I've played it a little bit, and so I thought I have played it enough now to finally do a review on the game and sort of let you guys know what I think about it and sort of go from there. So today we're going to be reviewing Nascar Heat 3. It's the third installment of the game. It's developed by Monster Games and the publisher is 704 Gaming Corporation. The price, if I remember correctly, is $54.99 Canadian. So it's, I don't know what that would be in American dollars, but so far I've played about 8 hours. It's been out since September 7th, so a week and a day ago it came out. And so I've played a little bit. I've experimented with a few of the different game modes, and so I sort of think that I have enough of a sort of knowledge of the game to give a pretty accurate review. So I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of the game, but first I'm sort of going to mention all of the features. So obviously you have your quick race mode, then you have a sort of season mode where you race for a championship. I haven't experimented much with the championship mode yet. I've done career mode. Career mode's pretty fun. You basically start from the bottom and you work your way up, and you can decide whether you're just a driver or you own the race team. There's also online mode. Online mode I've had some trouble finding games to connect to just because the game's not super popular. So the first day it came out I had a couple of online races, but since then I haven't been able to find any races when I've wanted to. Now this is the PC version. I believe the game is also out on PS4 and Xbox One as well. So I don't know, maybe people have better luck on those platforms than I do on PC. There's also Challenges mode, and Challenges mode is interesting. It basically takes different events from the history of NASCAR, from the various series that they race, because this game has the Truck Series, the Infinity Series, as well as the Monster Energy Series, and then it has their own made-up Dirt Series as well. So it takes events from history, and you can either have to remake the hit, like make them happen again, or you have to rewrite history. So an example of one of the ones I've done already is in the Daytona 500 last year, when you had Austin Dillon sort of wrecking Eric Amarola on the back straightaway to win the race. You have to sort of imitate Austin Dillon winning the race with 2 laps to go basically at Daytona. So that's one of the challenges. There's another one where you have to rewrite history. So this is what happened. You don't want that to happen anymore. Do the opposite. So it's a fun game mode. The music is really good. There's a good sort of variety of music content. You have some country, you have some rock. One of the things that I haven't been able to figure out is I don't know if you can toggle off or basically have songs not play. So for example, say you like country music, but you don't like rock music. I don't know if there's a way to only have the country music play or something like that. But that's sort of a brief overview of the game in total. In the background right now, there's sort of gameplay playing. I sort of wanted to try and capture everything I talked about in the video at one point or another. So later on when I'm talking about crash physics or that kind of thing, there should have been an example either shown or an example coming. I think the crash physics is already showed. I think it just showed right now. So like I said, I tried to sort of cover a lot of the stuff in the background footage, but if there's anything I sort of missed, if you want to sort of ask for clarification in the comments or anything, I'm more than happy to sort of explain what I mean from any of the things I touch on. So I guess first we're going to talk about the cons. I'm always a bad news first kind of person, so we're going to talk about the cons of the game first. The first thing is that on the tracks that aren't the super speedways, the tracks where you have to brake, especially the road courses, I find that the cars are super loose. Even when you're on the tightest sort of setup, so for those of you who aren't really close or really well read on racing, loose means the car loses control very easily, has a lot of oversteer. Tight means that the car doesn't turn very well, a lot of understeer. It's hard to make the car turn. Instead of turning, you kind of just chatter up the road. So I find the car super loose, and I think this is sort of tied to the brakes being really, really sensitive. I find it really hard on the controller, at least, to sort of ease into the brakes in the corner. I find that I'm like a quarter brakes, and the car's already sort of dragging, the brakes are sort of sliding already, and I'm already drifting into the corner almost. So that's sort of unfortunate. Another thing that I find is that the cars in the back are really, really slow. And I get that the developers wanted to make it so that the game, like, you have slower cars, so you can always pass some people and that kind of stuff, and that's fine. But like, part of this has to do with the difficulty, the way the difficulty works. This game has an interesting difficulty where you slowly, like, the cars over time get more and more difficult based on how you finish in the race. It's called the speed rating. So the speed rating goes up to 105. And so in this race that you're seeing in the background right now, like the Daytona race, if it's still on Daytona, it might be onto the Truck Series race by now, but the speed rating was like a 96 or 97, but still, it was like I was on Daytona. I'm supposed to be having to draft people to move up in the positions, and I can just sort of drive by them because they're so much slower than me. So I think that the difficulty could be made a little bit better in the sense that make the cars at the back a little bit better. I understand they want there to be discrepancy in the difficulties, but I think if the cars were better in the back, it'd make the game more fun, especially on the courses where you have to brake. Like, I was doing a race off camera at Darlington, and like I started from the back because I like doing that. I don't like qualifying. And like I was in the corner full gas because I was just in the back of a car, because the cars slowed down to like 20 to 30 kilometers more so than they needed to in the corner, and because of that, sort of it made the game less enjoyable. So I guess that's sort of the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest concern of the game is that I don't know if it's hard enough. I haven't gotten to the highest levels, but it's a concern I've seen from other videos as well, is that I don't know if the game is capable of being hard enough for a lot of players. So the other sort of issues that I have are not really major things, they're sort of small things that I don't really like about the game. One of those things is that damaged cars don't usually pit. So like earlier in the race, I caused a big wreck on purpose to sort of demonstrate that the cars that have tons of damage, they don't go pit and fix the damage. So like it's kind of unfortunate because they should be getting they should be a lot slower. Like if your hood is all smashed up, one of the things that I think they did a good job of this game compared to other ones that they made in previous years is I think the crash models are pretty good. Like the damage model when you smash into the wall or anything like that is pretty good. It looks nice, but it doesn't seem like the aerodynamics are affected by the damage model, which is not good, obviously. And the last sort of thing, and this is something that this is my least favorite part of the game, because if the game is really like the other issues, like the cars being too slow and that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, if you're up racing for the win, you're still enjoying it, right? If you're still racing through cars. The biggest issue that I personally see is that the cautions, first of all, they happen too easily. So in the game, there's strict yellow and passive yellow. Strict yellow is supposed to be realistic, but it's like if you hit the wall and you slow down to like 20 kilometers slower than racing speed, they call it caution, and that's not how it works. Especially on the road courses. Like I was racing on a road course in it's the truck race. So I was racing on the road course in the truck race, and I go off the course, and like I'm not affecting race speed or anything, and they throw a caution, and I'm like, that's not how it would be. So that's sort of one thing that I don't like about the caution system. And the other one, and this is more so of a sort of thing that I don't like, the cautions, when the caution gets thrown, you immediately lose control of the car. I think the game would be a lot more enjoyable if when the caution got thrown, you had maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds to sort of just get it back in line and let the crash play out. Because part of the thing that I enjoy about NASCAR games, and a lot of other people, is when you have the big crashes happen, you sort of have to try and make your way out of them or don't be involved in them. And by sort of like having the cars run right into NPC or right into computer control as soon as the caution comes out, I think it sort of limits the enjoyment you can get from a lot of these big crashes. And so that's one thing I definitely would like to see changed, is that the sort of caution time runs a little bit longer. And I get that they don't want to have people pace lapping and acting like idiots on the pace laps, but I think if they gave 15-20 seconds to let the crashes play out, it'd be a lot more enjoyable. But that's sort of it with the cons. And now moving on to the things that I like about the game, and I like it a lot about the game. I held off on buying NASCAR Heat the first year. I really thought about buying it last year, and I sort of decided that it wasn't developed enough to be an enjoyable game in the way that I wanted to play it. And this year I said I'm going to buy, like it looked like it was improved enough to the point where I wanted to buy it, and I think I'm so far I'm happy with my purchase. I think it's a fun game. The crash damage is pretty reasonable. It's pretty realistic. The damage model is good. One of the things I really disliked about a lot of NASCAR games is that you get in a huge wreck and then the damage model is like you're not damaged at all. With this game, that's not the case. And so that was one thing that I really liked about it. The career mode is challenging, but not too challenging. You sort of, it's realistic in the sense that you start off in bad cars. You sort of have to work hard to work your way up in the ranks. And something that I didn't think I'd like at all, I didn't think I was going to use at all, but it's probably one of my favorite features of the game now, is the dirt racing. So the dirt racing I really enjoy. It's something that's sort of fun. It's really arcadey, but it's a really fun thing to play. I really didn't expect it at all, and it turned out to be one of the best parts of the game. There's also a good variety of paint schemes, of all the drivers are in the game and that kind of stuff. There's definitely still room for improvement in the game. There's still things that could be better. Next year I'm sure it's going to be better again. The making of your own cars is kind of lackluster right now. But at the end of the day, it's a fun game. If you're looking for simulation racing, this isn't an iRacing review. I don't know why you're here. It's definitely not sim racing. It's a fun sort of arcadey NASCAR game. You get to experiment with all three of the NASCAR series. You get to have their own custom dirt series. It's a lot of fun. You can spend a lot of hours playing the game and still enjoy it. I would honestly, I would recommend the game. It's not that expensive. For $54 Canadian, most sports games, NASCAR is considered a sport. Most sports games, you're starting at $70, $80 for the game, right? So for this to be $54, I think it's pretty affordable. I enjoyed it, and I honestly, I recommend the game. If you're looking for simulation racing, like I said, this is definitely not the place for you. This is not a simulation racer. It's not ever going to be like that. But it's still an enjoyable game. It's a game where you can sort of plug in split screen mode, play with your buddy when they come over, anything like that. So, like I said, pretty good game. I would recommend it personally if you're looking for sort of an arcadey type of game. If you're looking for simulation, I would definitely pass on this game. But that's going to be everything for the video game review. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want me to record NASCAR videos in the future, if that's something you guys would enjoy. I'm not really sure. It's kind of different than what I usually do on my channel, so I'm not sure if that's something you guys would want to see or not. But if you enjoyed the video and you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer and you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and a favorite. And I'll catch you guys all next time with another video. My name is Gamefruitpulp. Hope you guys have a good one, and I will see you all later.